Hey y'all, welcome to Music Row Coach. My name is Ben Kirsch, and I'm going to teach you a few things about Guitar for Songwriters. To start out is really simple. You only need 4 chords. That's G, D, E minor, and C. And you can play probably 70% of songs and write a bunch of your own if you know just those 4 chords. So let's get started. If you got your guitar, make sure you're tuned up, and we're going to play a G chord. We're going to take your middle finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the low E string, which is your fattest string. And then your index finger on the 2nd fret of your A string, which is the next string down. You're going to skip the next 2 strings, leave those open. You're going to take your ring finger, place it on the 3rd fret of the B string, and your pinky right underneath it on the 3rd fret of the high E string. And you've got your G chord. Alright, so our next chord we're going to talk about is our C chord. And this we're going to start with our ring finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the A string. Then you're going to take your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, skip the G, we're going to leave that open, and then place your 1st finger on the 1st fret of the B string. And you're also going to want to, we got this low E string down here, you're going to want to kind of wrap your thumb around and lightly touch it so it mutes. And I'll show you why. If you don't do that, you get this sound, which doesn't sound bad. That E works, but it just sounds kind of muddy. So we're going to take our thumb, wrap it slightly around the top of the neck so that E string doesn't ring, and we have a much cleaner C chord. And here's the diagram for how to play that. Alright, our next major chord is our D chord. It sounds like this. It's one of my favorite chords. This one, you're going to take your 1st finger, place it on the 2nd fret of your G string, your ring finger on the 3rd fret of your B string, and your middle finger on the 2nd fret of your E string. And again, you're going to want to do the same thing as in the C chord. Wrap that thumb around and lightly rest it on your low E string so you kind of get a dead sound. Because this one, the E is not in and it sounds bad. Here's what that sounds like. See how that note doesn't work? We're just going to mute that. Here's a diagram of how to play that. Alright, and the last chord you need to know for the basics of songwriting is your E minor chord. This one's really easy. It just requires 2 fingers. You're going to take your middle finger, place it on the 2nd fret of your A string, and then your ring finger is going to go right underneath it on the 2nd fret of your D string. All other strings are open, and it sounds like this. And here's the diagram of how to play an E minor. Alright, most of y'all probably know this, but there are 6 strings on a guitar, and this is how it is tuned. We have E, A, D, G, B, and E. Now there's 2 E's, so this big thick one we're going to call the low E, and this one down here we're going to call the high E.
Eat apples daily, get better eyes.
I haven't heard that one. That's good. Did you make that one up?
I heard it from somewhere.
Alright, so now that you have your 4 basic chords, your G, your C, your D, and your E minor, you got to practice putting them together. So what I would do is just take that order, G, C, D, E minor, and practice moving in between those chords. It also helps if you say the name of the chord while you're playing it, because that'll help you remember it. So G, C, D, E minor. Now your muscle memory is going to get used to that, so once you're really comfortable with that, change the order. Maybe go D, E minor, C, G. D, E minor, C, G. Alright y'all, have fun practicing.